Good day, comrade subscribers. Thanks for hanging around, and sorry to see you go, whoever unsubscribed after I posted my video yesterday. Maybe you'll come back sometime. So, yes, I agree with Mr. Volkman. I think this is the later board I've got, which is July '91, with some extra work on it, and with the Western capacitors on it. I think. Well, I'm going to try this one. So first of all, I'm going to have to replace the power cable. So I'm going to replace it with the one I made up here so I can use the Meanwell power supply. Just looking at this modification here, like I said yesterday, the RGB output on the PC-01 Lviv and PC-02 Kyiv is inverted RGB. So to get normal RGB out, apparently you just need to run it through some inverter gates, which I think is exactly what this is doing here. So this particular chip is a K555 LE1, which is equivalent to a 74 LSO2, which I think is a quad. Is it a quad? Yeah, quad NOR gate. It's on top of, I think it's D62. Was it D63? I think it was supposed to be. So this is my original one. It's sitting on top of this one here. So I'm not too sure about the. Anyway, if we look at this layout, I'm assuming it's the same layout. Should be the same layout. It's D62, this chip here, and D62, because I went through my earlier investigation. D62 is related to the RGB output, and also some confusion for me at least. So this video, whether this is composite video or whether this is the sync signal, or whether it's both. It's composite video and you can get the sync from it. I'm not sure. Anyway, so yeah, so there's D29 there, so actually it's D62 up here, where we're getting the RGB output. So we've got a quad NOR gate sitting on top of the RGB output chip, and if you have a look, hopefully I can do this, they're basically using it as an inverter. So if you can see here, for example, we've got two of the input pins connected together, and then the output pin goes off, I assume, to hopefully where the RGB output is, which is that one, I think. But anyway, I'll double check. So obviously what it's doing is, with a NOR gate, if you've got two low inputs, if you get low and low, you get high. If you get high and high, you get low. And if you get low and high or high and low, well, you can't get that in this case because the inputs are tied together. So basically this chip on top is inverting the output of the RGB. So voila, I don't need to do anything. So hopefully it works. So I have made up a cable for this, I just don't know where it is. So I'm going to make up another cable. I'm going to swap this out for my other power supply, and then we'll power it on and see if this one works. If it does work, I'm going to be very careful with it, and I think what I'll do is replace the keyboard, because this is a pretty horrible keyboard. So it'll mean having to desolder all that, pull it apart, do the same for my original board, because the original keyboard I think is a lot better. Yeah, so that's the plan. Okay, I've got the new power cable attached, and I've just tidied up. These wires are a bit loose. I've tidied those up. So I think this 7 pin, DIN 7, is the RGB out, because that's where I'm pretty sure that quad NOR is connected up to. And yep, so we had, so I think according to this, we've got this, okay, ground, which is, yeah, ground, but this video signal comes out of D29, which, that's a RAM chip. Yes, that's RAM. So where's D29? Okay, so I thought, anyway. So these two go all the way up to this 7-pin DIN up the top. And they've added in this additional wire which goes to 12 volts input. So this is the 12 volts input coming into this socket here as well. So I'm thinking that this hand-drawn diagram has got something to do with it, because we've got mention of 12 volts here, some sort of switch by the looks of it. So I'm not really sure. So that says, I think, video, and I think that's the common. I want to say that's a G, but I think it's a D. Radio. See, I can't read. Something channel, radio channel, canala. Anyway, don't know. So yeah, so I think this has somehow got something to do with why they've got 12 volts added to this 7-pin DIN. Yeah, I can't make heads or tail of any of this down here. I'll hold it there. If you want to try and read it for me, that would be awesome. But we've got, I'll just have a look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, well, that is not the correct pin out anyway. That's a 5-pin DIN. So the 5-pin DIN is the one next to it, which I thought was magnetophone. So the tape player input. I'm getting a bit confused now, because definitely X5 here. I should have just checked on here. X5. Oh, okay. Can't really tell. Can't really tell. So there's definitely, it says, I've zoomed in as much as I can. It's hard to see. Or is that an X3? So I got it upside down. Is this X5 here? So because actually it goes, when it's in the machine, because I've got, this is upside down, isn't it? Just being very careful not to break it here. So that's the way it actually goes in the machine. I'm pretty sure that this was magnetophone on the left, and so that was video on the right. Let me just get the case. Okay. So yeah, magnetophone on the left, and I assume that's television video output on the right. So it should be this 7-pin. There should be this 7-pin there. Okay. So the next question is, assuming it's the 7-pin, do I use a very nice Lumberry 7-pin DIN, or do I just use an El Cheapo? I think I might go for the Lumberry. Yeah, I go for the Lumberry. Okay. Yeah, all right, let me figure this out. Rightio. So I've got the pin out. And the time I've been doing this, one more person unsubscribed. So 2, soft cocks. Anyway, so the pin out is, so I'll remove this. Yeah, so upside down, right way round. So it is pin 6 is ground. Pin 1, they have wired it to 12 volts via a resistor. Pin 4 should be green. Pin 2 is video, so I'm assuming that's sync. Pin 5 is red. Pin 3 is blue. And pin 7 is unconnected. So I'll probably, don't need the 12 volts. I'm not using SCARTs or something like that. So that's this wire here. So I can disconnect that. Everything else goes via resistors. So like it looks like they've got, yeah, well you can see here the resistors. It seems to be 150 ohm. Right, so I'm going to try and make it kind of a neat cable. So here's my AliExpress RGBS cable for the GBS 8200. Right through there, and I'll try and do the fancy 7-pin DIN socket. And then I've just got to find my Meanwell power supply that does the plus minus 5 volts and the 12 volts. Yep, alright, let's do the cable. I think I am starting to master the art of making these cables. So I realised that I should use a match. Whoops. Just to mount these ends here. Makes stops everything kind of splaying apart and opening it up. So, and obviously wrap it up like that so I can get it through the braid. So now it's just a matter of soldering these onto the DIN, and it should be ready to go. And I'll just put some clear heat shrink on each one of those, just to it's plugged in here. Just to kind of give it an extra bit of protection. Okay, and of course, always don't forget to stick this on first. And we're done. So hopefully that's correct. Put it together and yeah, try and find my Meanwell power supply, and then yeah, moment of truth. Doesn't work, then yeah, okay. Some sort of troubleshooting. And there we have the completed cable for the Lviv for the GBS 8200. Now to find that power supply and give it a go. Tidy up a little bit. And yeah, let's see. Okay, just had dinner. Spag bog, or spaghetti bolognese, that we always make with fettuccine for some reason. So apologies to any my viewers who are of Italian or Sicilian descent. Flun, if you're watching, I doubt it, but apologies that we make spag bog with fettuccine. Right, so I've got it all hooked up. I've got my Meanwell power supply. Got my RGB cable to the GBS 8200. Okay, let's see what happens when I turn it on. Okay, reach over. Hey! Woohoo! It's working. Syntax error, yes. Something's held down. Woo! Okay. Yeah. So you can see at the start, I might go back and what's the word? Freeze frame it. If I power it off again, let me just pull this out. Let's zoom in actually. Okay, so actually before I boot it, again, I remember the story now. So, well, the story that I read is that the Soviets said it had to be called the Lvov. They couldn't name it after the Ukrainian city Lviv. So the case is called the Lvov. It says Lvov on the case. But when you boot it, it says PK-01 Lviv. Very sneaky. Yeah. So keyboard's a bit rubbish. So what I'm going to definitely do is replace this with my original keyboard. So yeah, undo all this, yeah, and replace it over, and hopefully if that fixes it, then I can put it back in its case. Let's see how it goes. So this is the working machine. You can see the keyboard is a lot more worn. It's still pretty rough, but I think this is the better keyboard of them all, assuming it works. You can see here that the cabling, I don't know, I guess is a bit shorter than this one, I guess. But yeah, like you say, assuming this works. Yeah, obviously I want to be very careful of the wiring. So there we go. Some progress. So next video, hopefully, keyboards are swapped over and I can try and load something via the tape port, because there is an emulator and software in Lviv format or something, or LIV format or something like that. And you can use the emulator, I think, to generate WAV files. So I'll try and load something. Okay. Yeah, that's it for tonight. Thanks for hanging around. Thanks for subscribing. And bye for now. Actually, before I went, because Mr. Volkman commented that, like, in his opinion, it does look like it's been repaired, and I'm starting to think that maybe it has been repaired. So they have removed the original precious metal containing capacitors and replaced them with Western parts. Because you look at other things here, you can see that they have been, looks like some of the tracks were damaged. So you can see, where's my poker? Let me use this one. Obviously, this is the 8080. This is the 8080 clone. So you can see this track here is obviously been repaired, and then over here as well, they've done some repairs and they've run this bodge wire across as well. Looks like, okay, they've actually cut the track there. Yeah. So there has been some modifications, and obviously where they have inverted the RGB output as well. So yeah, I'm quite happy. I've had these for a while, and I've just been a bit pessimistic that I was going to get anything to work. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to say goodbye for now.